What's up, guys? Just letting you guys know that this was filmed before the playoffs started, back at the end of last week. Just had a busy life since and just got it posted a little late. But yeah, just giving you guys a heads up that none of these takes were given before playoffs started. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode.
Welcome to Studio J Podcast. I'm Julian Means, and today will be joining me one of my best friends, Elvis.
How's it going, guys? My name is Elvis. I've been friends with Julian here for the last 5 years of my life, and I'm excited to get this podcast going.
Yeah, so today we are going to be talking about our NBA playoffs predictions. So we're going to be talking about full-on predictions from the beginning of the playoffs all the way through to the finals. We'll be going over some hot takes, some topics similarly related to the playoffs, and a bunch more. Yeah, let's get into it. Some kind of ease-in topics about the playoffs. Nothing super important, but just some easy questions to get started with. The first one we're going to be starting with is, who do you think is the hottest team in the NBA right now heading into the playoffs?
That's a good first question to kind of start off with here. Just judging by record, the Nuggets in the past 12 games has kind of been the hottest team in the league. They've gotten all their guys back. They've kind of been sidelined through injury throughout the whole season, their whole starting five. Jokic has been out, Murray's been out, Aaron Gordon's been out, Brown has been out. So I feel like they're starting to get their guys back and they're meshing. Obviously, they've had that chemistry for a while now. And it looks like they're just meshing right at the right time, just going into the playoffs here. So I think that is the hottest team right now in the league. What about you, Julian?
I also agree. I do think it is the Nuggets. They've won 12 in a row, and they've won a few games without Jokic, without Jamal. Their bench is really starting to come together with Valanciunas and Peyton Watson and Christian Braun. Everyone's starting to kind of just click at the right time, like you said. Starters and bench, and I think they are heading into the playoffs looking real comfortable with the team. Jokic looks just as strong as ever. Jamal Murray probably having his best regular season ever. Let's see if it translates to the playoffs, as it usually does. And yeah, I would not want to be playing them if I was any team. They look really good right now. A lot better than they did in the beginning of the year. They did have an injury bug with Jokic and a couple other guys. They were so hurt. It was like Jamal Murray and just anyone else they could find for like a week or two. And they still pulled out some wins with Jamal stepping up.
Yeah, I think it's really, really impressive, their record with all their guys being out, and they still ended up being a third seed. I think it's very, very impressive. They're first in points per game. They're second in turnovers. And then they have the best 3-point field goal percentage in the league. I think those three things are so essential in a playoff series, being able to hit threes and scoring the ball at a high rate, and being very efficient. Obviously, Jokic is kind of the head of all those stats there. But yeah, having those three things going into the playoffs with a kind of a healthy roster other than Peyton Watson is very, very important. So yeah, I think they're dangerous and teams should be on the lookout.
I agree. All right, next question. Which team is being overhyped by fans and media heading into the playoffs?
That's a good question. The word overhyped is kind of interesting in this question, just because from a media standpoint, in my opinion, in terms of a media standpoint, I would say the most kind of overhyped teams now, and that's using overhyped just kind of in a small term there, it's probably either the Pistons or the Spurs. I say that because those teams, obviously the Spurs have been on fire this whole year. Wemby's been on a tear. He's probably going to get Depoy here. And then obviously with the Pistons, Cade and Jalen Duren, they've been playing so well. But in terms of, playoff experience, both of those teams lack a lot of experience. A lot of their guys haven't been in the playoffs there. So in terms of overhyped, I can kind of see them going to a series just with the lack of experience there and kind of just not knowing specifically how to counter. Their coach he's been a great coach all year, but when he's going against some of the coaches that have playoff experience and they have the ability to counter, It'd be interesting to kind of see how he can, combat that and lead the team. But I'd say those two young teams for sure, I would say are the most overhyped. What do you think, Julian?
I leaned more towards the Pistons, and my
Mhm.
reasons are they have a really rough half court offense. Even with Cade on the floor, when Cade is on the floor, it feels like he's the only one that can like go get a bucket on his own, and they really thrive off transition offense, fast breaks, kick out threes. But when it comes down to just slowing it down and having a half court offense and running a play, they're really stagnant, and that tends to happen a lot in playoffs. Playoffs games are a lot
Mhm.
grimier, a lot slower, a lot less scoring, and they do thrive off low scoring games because their defense is so good. But I just wonder if their offense is going to be able to get through it because they had this problem last year. They are better this year than they were
Mhm.
last year, but it's still a worry. Also, they have had a weird injury bug all year.
Yeah.
And like you said, they're young. But
Hmm. Yeah.
um, yeah, Pistons are my team. I just think overhyped. Actually isn't really a ton of teams that are like super overhyped by the fans and media this year. But
Yeah.
I still thought this question would be interesting, just to see like what team we are kind of a little less confident in, basically going into the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I agree. The Pistons there, obviously, Cade just kind of coming back from the that injury there. I thought it was going to keep him sidelined a little bit longer, but he came back for a couple games at the end of the season, and we'll kind of see how his body reacts and how he plays. But
Yeah,
yeah, that team is going to be very interesting to see kind of how they're playing versus that eighth seed in the East.
yeah. Okay, last kind of settle in question is which lower seed could you realistically see making a deep playoff run?
That's a good question. I think that the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're the sixth seed now. I think that is probably the lowest seed that can make some noise here. Obviously, they're going to be playing Denver in the first round. They've been playing Denver. They've kind of become a rival to Denver here for the last couple of
They
years.
have.
And Minnesota has kind of gotten the better half of Denver recently. I think that if Minnesota gets past Denver, I think Denver's just such a powerhouse, and as we mentioned earlier, they're playing really, really well. If they get past Denver in the first round, I think they can get past anyone in the West. I think that'll give them a lot of confidence, kind of
Mm-hmm.
going into the rounds after.
Yeah,
On the opposite side of the bracket, OKC is kind of starting off a little, with less competition, playing an 8 seed and then playing the winner of the Lakers and Rockets. So the Wolves kind of getting started quick and early, and getting competition quick, and then beating that competition. Then obviously they'd play either the Spurs or whoever wins out of that playing game. That kind of gets them going quick, and that can get them hot, and that can make them have a deep playoff run. So, and then obviously with Anthony Edwards, he's a playoff riser. He's
yeah,
healthy. Randall played really, really well in the playoffs last year.
he did.
So if he replicates that, then obviously you have Rudy at the center there. So we'll kind of see what happens.
Yeah, I like your takes. I went with an East team, just to kind of switch it up because I do probably think the Wolves are the most realistic chance, but I went with an East team just to switch it up. I think that the Hawks could go deep. I think they could upset. Their team is really built for the playoffs. They have a lot of all around scorers, shooters, and they have some defense. They're young, but they have a couple of vets, and everything is clicking for them right now. They are on like a crazy winning streak, or just like winning record the past 2 months. And I think Jalen Johnson is totally built for the playoffs. I think CJ McCollum is a great vet to have in the playoffs to close out games for you. And I think Okongwu and a couple other guys they have. Just all around, the team just
Yeah.
feels like everything's clicking and they have confidence. And it wouldn't shock me if they upset the Knicks in the first round because the Knicks don't have the same fire that they had under their team that they did last year. And it just doesn't feel like a Knicks playoffs run is in the cards this year. At least to me. I felt like last year they had a lot of hype coming into the playoffs. They felt like a better team, and even though they picked up some good players that might help them in the playoffs this year more than last year, I could just see Hawks kind of going deep. And if they beat the Knicks, I could even see them scaring the Celtics a little bit because they match up pretty well with their length and their size. But I don't see them beating the Celtics, but I could see them scaring them and taking a game or two away from them. But yeah.
I agree. All those players named for the Hawks, they all have something to prove. Obviously, yeah, like you said, Jalen Johnson's been playing phenomenal this year, kind of doing everything. He's been kind of the head of the sword there, getting all the triple doubles. And then also That's what I was reading.
Leap,
yes. Yeah, Alexander the Walker. Leap.
He's a
yep.
Great. That's another great playoff scorer to have. Dude that could just give you 20 any night or more if he wants to.
Correct. Yeah, he's had a great leap. Obviously leaving the Timberwolves here and going to the Hawks. He's had a great leap this year. He's in the running for most improved. Yeah, he's playing it fantastic, and he has playoff experience as well. So yeah, I think that the Hawks can be a team that can upset the Knicks possibly. We'll see what happens.
All right, well, let's get into our first round matchups. So first we got Thunder versus. We both had the Warriors winning. So the Warriors. Who do you got, and how many games, and why?
I've got Thunder in 5 games, maybe 6 if we see some vintage Steph Curry performances. Like I said, the Thunder are just too much of a powerhouse. There's a huge defensive gap between both teams. Draymond Green kind of, anchors the defense for the Warriors, but OKC's wings. They have a recipe that a lot of other teams don't have, and that's the reason why they won the chip last year. Their wings, those 3-and-D wings, they can kind of create their own offense. They can create offense for the team and then also defend at a really high level. They have like 3 or 4 of those guys. A lot of teams don't have that. I think that's kind of what's going to help them here against the Warriors. Also, the Warriors are pretty small. Obviously, they've added Kristaps, but they're still a pretty small team. Thunder can go double big if they want to with Hartenstein and Chet. So there's just so many different matchups and different schemes that I think that the Thunder can present to the Warriors. That's just kind of throw them off. Obviously, with defending Steph Curry, that's going to be, that's going to be hard. But if you can sort of contain him, which is going to be difficult, but if you can sort of contain him and kind of take everyone else out of the offense, I think the Thunder can take him out in either 5 or 6. What are your thoughts?
I got Thunder in a sweep here. I even with a vintage Curry game, I just think there's way too big of a gap here, offensively and defensively. And honestly, as of late, past couple of years, I think there's a huge coaching gap too. I just think that for every problem the Warriors have, or every problem the Thunder have with the Warriors team, the Warriors have like double. It's like the the Thunder are like, how do we guard Steph? The Warriors are like, how do we guard Shea and Chet and J-Dub? And then it's just there's too many problems on the Warriors side compared to the Thunder. It just doesn't even out. And I think even with a vintage Curry game, the Thunder usually don't really slack in any category. Even if Shea has a bad game, someone steps up and puts up 20 and it evens out and they win. So like even if Shea has a decent game where he only has like 18 and Curry has 40, I'm sure Jared McCain's going to have 20 and J-Dub's going to have 28 and they're going to win. And if any team's going to be able to guard Steph Curry with just throwing bodies at him and people chasing him, it's going to be the Thunder. Caruso and Dort and Shea and just J-Dub and Chet and everyone. They just have multiple guys that can chase. They can get around screens fast. And I just think it's going to be absolute hell if the Warriors make it because I don't trust anyone else to get the ball in the hoop besides Steph consistently. Okay. Porzingis every once in a while, I'll be like, yeah, but he's been injured, have an injury bug this year, and so I don't necessarily trust him in a playoff series, and I don't trust Horford to turn into vintage Horford again like he did the other night. Yeah. By the way, seeing Al Horford and Brook Lopez go at it in 2026.
Crazy. Al Horford was shooting the lights out last night. I don't know what was going on. But
It's not
yeah, I
happening
completely
at
agree with it. Yeah,
consistent basis.
yeah, I completely agree with everything you're saying. Yeah, I think that the Thunder just a way better team. And I again, like you said, I think playoffs are all about adjustments,
Yeah.
adjusting to game one. And I think the Thunder, they can adjust 10 times better than the Warriors can. They can just throw the whole bucket at you, and
Yeah.
the Warriors don't have anything to adjust to that adjustment. So yeah, it's kind of a tough deal here for the Warriors, but yeah, I think Thunder are just gonna kind of take it over. I like I said, N5, I think Steph Curry has like a 40-point game and shoots the lights out one game. But yeah, no, I'm leaning way towards the Thunder in here.
Sweet. Well, let's move on to the next series. A big series for us, being Lakers fans. Lakers versus Rockets. Who do you got?
Yeah.
And how many games and why?
This one's difficult. It's being a Lakers fan. Obviously, I'm going to try to eliminate as much bias as possible. Obviously, the Lakers, I think they're one of the most cursed franchises in all of sports. Luka and Austin going down literally in the last week of the season is just the most lowest blow I can possibly have for a team. They were playing really well. I feel like those three kind of learned how to mesh with each other with LeBron, Reeves, and Luka. But with those two out, yeah, it's going to be very difficult to ask a 41-year-old to kind of carry the load here. Houston has its own problems of its own. Them not having Fred VanVleet for the whole year. They don't really have someone who can run their offense. Amen Thompson running your offense, I don't think is the best kind of route to go. But they've been doing it all year. They're a very ISO scoring basketball team. Obviously, just getting the ball to Sengun or Durant at the elbow. Sengun can make plays. I don't think Durant's really great at making plays. He's just more of a scorer, obviously, if you've seen his whole career. But yeah, in this matchup here, it's difficult. I'm going to go Rockets in probably 6. Obviously, this is a completely different series if the Lakers were even had one of those guys back. But I just don't see. Obviously, I think LeBron's still going to play really well. He's been playing well the last couple of games without those two. But Luke Kennard being your primary point guard, and he's been playing outstanding. But him being your primary point guard, and you're losing 65 points per game just with those two out. That's very important in the playoffs. You need to score the ball in the playoffs efficiently. I think that's where the Lakers are going to lack. So yeah, I've got Rockets in 6, unfortunately. What are your thoughts?
So yeah, I thought about this one for a while, and I, as well as you, looked at it with tried to look at it as much with no bias. We are very unfortunate with no Luka or Reeves. I do think Luka will come back at the tail end of this series. I think that JJ and Pelinka and everyone is kind of keeping that under the radar on purpose, so that the Rockets aren't necessarily prepared for it. I'm sure they will prepare for it, even if we don't necessarily say he's coming back. And for that reason, I do have Lakers in 7. And let me explain why.
Go ahead.
I think the Rockets are one of the best rebounding teams in the past decade. They get so many rebounds. They have so many tall players, and everyone goes for rebound. I mean, their point guard is Ben Thompson. What is he, 6'4", 6'5"? Dude's not
6'5",
short at all. They're a really tall team, and they have some big bodies. Sengun's a big body. Jabari Smith's really lengthy. Durant can get his boards. And my only worry with the Rockets is their half-court offense is really stagnant. It's like the same thing I said with the Pistons. Obviously, you have a Durant, but like anyone else cannot get a bucket on their own. Like Sengun obviously can get some post work, but like it's never consistent. He'll have games where he has 15. He'll have games where he has 18, 22. It's never like always at least 20 or always at least 19. It's really, really stagnant. And I think JJ Redick is who I'm kind of trusting here as a coach. I think he will force the Rockets to get the ball in a men's hand more often, or anyone else but Durant or Sengun, basically. Give them the ball to score, see what happens. And if those guys, Amen, Jabari Smith, anyone else can score the ball consistently, then we probably will lose. But I do not think that will happen. It hasn't been happening all year, and this team's chemistry problems kind of went down the fucking drain like a month ago with the
Durant.
All-Star
It's so
game.
sweet.
Kevin Durant at the
Yeah.
All-Star weekend
Yeah.
is saying some things about his teammates, and then
Yeah.
they were arguing during games, and just they just don't feel like they like each other really very much. There hasn't been a ton of videos of them doing anything funny in the locker room or doing funny media day things or whatever it is that usually NBA teams will post when their team's in a good happy mood, winning streaks or whatever it is. It just doesn't feel like the Rockets are happy with each other. So I think if one wrong thing goes in the playoffs, if they have one bad game and we pull away and blow them out, let's say game 1, right? We blow them out or for some reason, like Durant has a bad game and they start arguing. I think it's going to be tough to come back from. Like, it's going to be tough for them to mentally come back, because if we can grab that negative energy that they have around each other and use it against them, then I think we can go from there. And like I said, I do think Luka will come back around game 6 or game 7 if the series continues.
Yeah.
If we're in the winning range. If it's like we're down 3-1, maybe he doesn't. But if around game 6 it's like 3-2 or something, then I think he's gonna be like, all right, let me pop in, give you 18 points, limited minutes, and just totally help the offense out. And we steal the deal, and we don't even have to go to 7 games or something, or whatever it is. Or in game 7 he comes in. I just think he will come back. I do think that whatever he went to Spain for is gonna work. I don't think they would have done it if they didn't. I think if they genuinely thought he couldn't come back, that they wouldn't have sent him to Spain. They would have been like, all right, you're out for the first round, rest up, take the the usual medicine, whatever they have for hamstring injuries, and hopefully we have you back for round 2 if we can make it through it. I think that's how they would have went about it. But I genuinely think that they thought, we can get you back if you go to Spain. I don't think that I don't see a reason why to do that if you don't think he's going to come back. Why would you send him all the way to Spain to rush him back for the second round if you don't even know you're going to make it to the second round? You know what I mean? Like, why try these procedures? So
I get you. Yeah, I get you. I everything you said about the Rockets with their chemistry being off here since the All-Star, I agree 1,000%. I agree that their half-court offense is horrible. I agree with everything you said. The part I disagree with is the Luka timeline injury. Dude, hamstrings are not fun. Are not
They're
fun.
not.
He has a grade 2 hamstring injury, which means that it's that hamstring is just kind of it's barely hanging there. Even if he does get back, even if he does do the treatments in Europe and things of that nature and gets back, just moving on the court, he might get cleared. Obviously, they're going to probably put him through some 5v5 and ramp him up before he actually gets in the game.
yeah,
But with the timeline that the Lakers played with this first round series, and then also ramping up and then actually playing in a game with a hamstring injury, if it was like anything else, I would say he has a good chance. But that hamstring, it's going to be very, very difficult to kind of feel the same. Obviously, you don't need him to give you 30-point triple-double. But like I said, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough for him to kind of come back before the series ends. So we'll see what happens. If he does come back, I do like the Lakers' chances a little bit more. But I want to see, I think the first 3 games are going to kind of tell where the series goes.
for sure. Yeah.
And then, both teams can kind of go from there.
I agree. I think that if we blow like the first 2 games and it doesn't even look close, like, then I probably would change my mind. But I think you're a big LeBron fan. This could be his last series ever. I don't see him going down without a fight. I don't see him like going down 2-0 and just being like, damn. Like, I think we're going to win one of the first 2 games, whether people like it or not. I think LeBron's going to like win one himself.
I love LeBron more than I love myself. But it's just, you could do so much, you could do so much. I just think, it's going to be tough, but if anyone can do it, LeBron can. And I also trust JJ Redick's, coaching scheme as well. So we'll kind of see what happens, but yeah.
Chicharito's done a really good job with the next man up,
Mm,
putting him in schemes
correct.
and making Luke Kennard look good and
Mm,
other players. I think if Rui steps up and gives me like 15 a
really.
game,
Mm,
I'm feeling really good. If
yeah.
Rui can come up and play like he did in the 2023 conference finals or the whole playoff run
Against,
against the
yeah.
Grizzlies, and
Grizzlies. Yeah.
just knocks down every kick out three,
Mm,
I'm gonna feel real nice. But
yeah.
this is
We'll see what
very toss
happens.
up. This is very
Yeah.
dependent on just a couple key things. I also didn't really
Mm,
necessarily say anything positive about the Rockets. I think Durant is going to be very hard to stop in the playoffs.
mm-hmm.
I do think that Sengun can still score the ball in the post if DeAndre Ayton starts to play weak as hell, which can happen. Um, and they have opportunities to shred apart our defense. I just don't think it'll
Yeah.
click all at once to
Yeah.
win a
That's a
game.
good
I
point.
think like one game Durant will play good, but Sengun doesn't. The next game it'll be the opposite. I don't know, because I just haven't heard great things about the Rockets all year, and I haven't seen great things collectively on like runs. It's just been kind of
Yeah.
like spurts. Like, oh, they played
Yeah.
good this month. They played bad this month.
Yeah.
They're all over the
Also,
place.
yeah. Also, last thing on this matchup, we've been kind of, we're Lakers fans, so we're favoring this this a lot.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers played the Rockets not too long ago. Lakers won that game. The scheme against Durant in that game was absolutely phenomenal by JJ Redick. Houston would give obviously Durant the ball in his spots, typically at that elbow, 17 feet away from the basket area, and they send another player towards him. They always send a double, forcing KD to kind of make decisions. I think KD was very caught. He was not thinking that was going to happen. He was caught off guard, yeah, and it forced him to make some tough decisions. He had a lot of turnovers that game and kind of didn't know how to. Looks like he didn't know how to pass out of a double. So kind of making KD uncomfortable and kind of going with that scheme. I'm pretty sure they'll probably start that with game one, and kind of see how that rolls. But yeah, that last game against the Rockets, they really, that scheme was amazing by JJ. So we'll kind of see. This is also a battle of the coaches. I think that
It really
JJ
is.
and
Yeah.
Udoka, whoever makes the better adjustments is gonna determine how the series goes.
Yeah. All right. We can move on to the next series.
Mhm.
Nuggets versus Wolves. Who do you got? How many games and why?
I think this is going to be the best series in round one.
I agree.
One being the history between both teams. Two being the fact that the Nuggets, like we said earlier on, they're really, really hot right now. Anthony Edwards is an insane playoff riser. He loves torching the Nuggets. And I can really see this going to 6 or 7. But I think that the Nuggets, them just being hot, their 3 guys kind of clicking right now. I think they found better surrounding pieces as compared to last year and the years prior for Jokic, Jamal, and Aaron Gordon. I feel like those pieces, like a Cam Johnson, a Tim Hardaway Jr., those type of guys, Valanciunas off the bench, those guys, I feel like, can help the Nuggets here and kind of can lead them to victory here. What's also interesting, Timberwolves are a little bit different team. They traded away some dudes. Obviously, they don't have Cat anymore. Randall played well last playoffs. We'll see how he plays this playoffs. But Cat, against Jokic, what their scheme was, they put Cat on Jokic and then have Gobert kind of roam the paint. Doing that with Randall, I don't know how it's going to fare out. It might be Jokic is just way too good. So yeah, we'll kind of see how they play it. We'll see who guards Jamal Murray. He's been on a tear, obviously, all NBA level. So we'll see. I got Nuggets in 6 or 7. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great series. I think it's going to be the best first round series. And yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I got Nuggets in 7. Confirmed 7. I think Wolves are going to make this really interesting. I think it's going to be a huge game of runs. Both these teams love to go on runs. Nuggets are going to go on a 12-0 run, timeout. Ant's going to come back and give you 3 straight threes in a row, 9-0 run, timeout. It's going to be like a lot of high moments and like just crazy overall. Just what's the word I'm looking for? I guess vibe, but like, just it's gonna be a crazy experience. It always is. It always is with these two teams. But the only difference I see this year is, I think Ant is better this year, but I think his team is worse. They didn't, they don't have Alexander Walker, like you said. They don't have Towns. Mike Conley has fallen off the face of the earth. He can't even get minutes anymore. He's too old. So they don't have a playmaker. I mean, Ant has got a little bit better at playmaking, but he's still not point guard level playmaking. They don't have a playmaker. And they don't have a third scorer, really. They had Alexander Walker. They have DiVincenzo, but he's inconsistent. But I just don't think with that playmaking missing with Conley really helped him out in the playoffs. Him being a vet, he really helped out in the clutch. But talking about the Nuggets, they are probably a better team as well, but their inconsistency with Cam Johnson and Christian Brown, if those dudes don't hit their shots, their offense becomes kind of just like let anyone score but Jamal or Jokic. Even Gordon plays good, but sometimes you'll have empty games. So that's why I lean Nuggets. I think they are a better offense, and I think their defense is going to match up well. I think I agree with you. Not having Towns to kind of play that two-post defense against Jokic is going to be weird. Randall's a big body, but he's not as tall, so it's going to be tough for him to defend Jokic's little hook shot bullshit. He makes every play. But yeah, so I got Nuggets in 7. It's going to be a great series. I expect some classic moments in the series for sure, but I just think Jokic is going to take over.
Yeah.
All right. Next series, we got Spurs versus the Blazers. Who do you got? How many games and why?
Got Spurs in 6. Spurs in 6. I think that in terms of just talent level, I think Spurs are a way better team than the Blazers. The reason why I say 6 is because the Spurs, obviously, they don't have too much playoff experience. The Blazers really don't have playoff experience either. But players like Grant and obviously Drew Holiday have kind of, been in huge playoff games, and I feel like they can kind of lead the team and help out some of the younger guys. The Spurs, it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, throughout the season, Wemby has been fantastic. He's probably going to be unanimous as DPOY. And he's only playing like 28, 29 minutes a game. So I don't know if they ramp him up, give him the 35 minutes during the playoffs, or keep him at the same 28, 29 minutes. But he's a competitor. We saw it in the All-Star game. We saw it in the Olympics a couple years ago. The dude just wants to win. He generally thinks he's the best player in the league. He's been talking crazy in press conferences recently, saying he should be MVP. He has a drive. And Wemby in the playoffs is going to be very interesting to see. And there's really can't guard that. He's too good. So we'll kind of see how he plays. I also like the Spurs. Their defense is really good. And I like their young guys. They're very quick, but they can also settle on a half-court offense. I think that's what separates them from the Blazers. I think that Harper is a great rookie. And then also they have De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox he's been in the playoffs before. If he plays well, they can go far. And then obviously Stephon Castle. He's been great all year, putting up triple doubles. He's been playing ahead of his age. So if those three guys or a mix of those guys kind of play well, I can see them, winning in 6. Obviously, Blazers, I think if Danny, if he has a couple of good games, they can steal a couple. The Trailblazers, this is, I think, an important part as well. Their home court advantage is insane. Their arena, those Blazers fans get really, really loud. And that's something, obviously, the Spurs players, they haven't really seen. They haven't been on an away playoff game. So we'll kind of see how that plays a factor into the whole thing. But, yeah, I'd probably say Spurs in 6.
I also have Spurs in 6. I agree with everything you said. I think De'Aaron Fox is the X factor of the Spurs. He gives you 23 or more. I'm confident Spurs could beat any team in the league. Because I think everyone else will do their dues. Not that De'Aaron Fox can't do his due every time, but it's when he does do his dues, it's like, it's scary. I feel like I hated the agenda, like, to trade Fox at the beginning of this year just because he's a little older than the other younger guys. Wemby needs that veteran point guard to match with him. Obviously, growing up with the Castle and Harper is going to be really well down the line. But like right now, having a veteran in your lineup that is playing great helps him out so much with someone he knows he can rely on. And I think Fox is that dude. He did it with a worse team with Sacramento his whole career. And now that he's on the Spurs with one of the best players in the league, I just think it flows really well. And he is built for the playoffs. He's built for the clutch moments. One of the clutchest players in the league still today. And yeah, Blazers, I think they match up really well defensively. I think that's why they'll win 2 games. But I just don't think they have the offense to match the Spurs at all. That's what it kind of comes down to. Denny can't have 40 every game. And so there's no one else really on the Blazers lineup that can consistently score to help him out. I mean, Shaden Sharp, he's good. He's kind of streaky. He's not super consistent. And everyone else on that team is not consistent or anyone of proficient scorer. Yeah. So let's move on to the East. First, we got Pistons versus who we both picked, the Hornets. Who do you got?
Like I said earlier, 2 young teams, both a little bit inexperienced. I think the Pistons are a better, well-rounded team. Obviously, the Hornets are going to be a little bit more streakier here, but if Cade's back to what he was before he got injured, they still have the big man Duran there. Obviously, Asar, and their bench. Their bench for the Pistons is playing really well. Obviously, they have a veteran presence with Tobias Harris as well. I think that the Pistons can win in 5 or 6. Obviously, there's going to be a couple of games where LaMelo Ball and Con Knipple and Brandon Miller, those guys kind of go off. Bridges as well. Some of those guys will go off and just kind of score a lot of points. But in terms of just well-rounded team, yeah, I just don't think anyone's beating the Pistons, at least for the first round. What about you? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I got Pistons in 6 here. I agree with everything you said. Hornets probably gonna pull out, I think, 2 games here just off of pure streaky shooting and high scoring, but also I think they're going to get to the emotions of the Pistons. Like I said earlier, they hate each other. I think there's going to be a game or 2 where some ejections happen and the Hornets end up just kind of finishing the game out hotter. And so for that reason, that's why I think the Hornets will win 2 games. But Pistons are just a better team all around. Or not offensively, actually. The Hornets are a better offense. But the Pistons got Kate Cunningham and they got Duran. Those 2 players are better than any team probably on the Hornets. And their defense is stellar. They make teams play significantly less. They hold teams to significantly less scoring than any team in the league. So that's why they're number 1 seed. So I got them in 6. Next series, we got Cavs versus Raptors. A really interesting series here. What do you got? I'm interested to see.
Yeah, this series is going to be very, very interesting. Raptors they kind of surprised me. I thought they'd be on the lower half of the standings when the year first started. But Ingram's been playing great. Obviously, Scotty Barnes has been amazing. And then with the Cavs, the Cavs are a very interesting team. Obviously, they got James Harden during the season, and he's been kind of playing well for them. Harden in the playoffs, it's kind of weird. He's great, but he's good, but he's not great. I I love Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs. Obviously, he hasn't really gone. He hasn't done the full extent of going to the second or third round and kind of, pushing for a championship. But he scores the ball really, really effectively in the playoffs. He has big games. We saw it in the bubble against the Nuggets with Jamal Murray. Even last year, he was playing really lights out, scoring the ball very well. Obviously, the Cavs they could still run that double big lineup with Allen and Mobley. I got the Cavs. Cavs in 6. I think that they're a better, well-rounded team. The Raptors, I don't think that they've kind of meshed yet. I think that the Cavs are a little bit more experienced, and I think they can pull it out. What are you thinking?
I actually agree with you to the right teat. I got Cavs in 6. I just think their team is built more for the playoffs than the Raptors is. I think the Raptors kind of accidentally ended up here. I don't think they thought they were going to be this good. And Ingram has been playing great. And their team is just full of like a bunch of solid dudes. Like no one's like superstar level, but there's not really any like bad players either. It's like just a bunch of solid, good dudes. And so that's why they've ended up here at like a decent spot in the playoffs. But I just think when it comes down to the playoffs, you need some dudes that are going to step up, multiple dudes that are going to step up. And I think they really only have Ingram. I think that'll step up in a playoff series. I don't think Scotty Barnes is any sort of a playoff riser by any means. He's a great player. He's just not built for that kind of moment. I think Ingram will have a game or two where he really steps it up, and Cavs probably miss some shots, and because the Cavs can be kind of inconsistent. But I think the Cavs overall are a better team. And I'll talk more about them next series. I have some thoughts, but I really am torn on the Cavs. But I think they'll win this series pretty confidently in 6.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, next series we got is Knicks versus Hawks, which is going to be, I think, is going to be the best series in
First
the East.
round matchup.
First round.
Yep, I agree.
What do you got?
This one's difficult. Hawks have been hot. Obviously, we kind of talked about them earlier here in this episode here. Obviously, with now and Jalen Johnson has been playing really well. Knicks are such an interesting team. Last couple of years, obviously them playing at MSG, the lights are always bright. It's their games are very, very intense, and the fans are in it, and there's so much going on. Jalen Brunson, the last couple of years, has been a playoff riser. He's scoring 30 to 40 points per game. This one's gonna be very interesting. The Knicks are good, but they're not great. They don't have, I don't know. They're missing something. Obviously the head coaching change to Mike Brown now. They don't have Tibbs anymore because he's playing everyone like 47 minutes a game. I think that doesn't change much. I think they're kind of still at the same position they're at. Obviously, they got some guys off their bench with Clarkson. I thought Clarkson was going to be a bigger piece for them this year. This one's difficult. I can say Knicks. I'm going to say Knicks just because they've kind of been in it the last couple of years. Hawks are just getting started. I think they'll heat up here in the next couple of seasons. These teams also don't like each other. If you kind of remember in the past what Trae Young was doing to the Knicks at MSG a couple years ago. I'd go Knicks. I'm going to say Knicks in 6, Knicks in 7. I think it's going to be a very intense, hard, scrappy series.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to go Knicks in 6 or 7. What about you?
I got Knicks in 7 here. I think it's going to be a really close series. And this, honestly, is the series I'm the least confident in my pick.
Yeah.
I could see Hawks in 7. I could see Hawks in 6. I could see Knicks in 6. It's really, really dependent on just how both teams play. I think both teams are built for the playoffs. I think Jalen Brunson's going to be pretty hard to stop. I think if Towns plays good, more than less games throughout the series, that they're going to be hard to stop. But the Hawks have been playing on fire, and they're also going to be really hard to stop. I don't know. It's going to be a really fun series. The games in the Garden are going to be fun. Random, but did you know that they are not allowing any um, home team announcers to announce any playoff games this year. It's only like
Saw that.
Amazon. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw that.
kind of
Yeah, I
weird.
think Mike Breen was kind of had a comment on that. Yeah, because he's usually with the
Yeah,
Knicks games.
yeah,
It's gonna be interesting, just with all the outlets that the NBA is trying to push their
yeah.
product on, with all the new kind of streaming services that they've projected out. But yeah, that's also interesting.
hmm
Yeah,
I,
we'll see what happens. This
I,
I agree with you on the fact that this is probably my least. I don't know. This one's going to be difficult. I'm not. Obviously, I think the Knicks are going to take it, but I'm not too confident in that pick. The Hawks can easily, like you said, win in 6 or 7. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm going to be tuning into this series for sure.
yeah. Um, what have you thought of all the streaming services? I've enjoyed the Amazon broadcast a lot. I really enjoyed the NBC broadcast, especially like when they do the throwback
Into
broadcasts.
throwbacks. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like what Adam Silver did there. I think
hmm
he's just trying to market the NBA in a different light,
hmm
pushing them across streaming services. Obviously, the more advanced we kind of go in technology and everything, streaming services has kind of become the forefront of of media, of television.
Yeah.
So expanding the NBA to all those different outlets was a good move.
hmm
Obviously, it might be a little bit difficult to watch the games. You kind of have to be subscribed to a specific streaming service.
hmm
That can be kind of hard for the NBA fan, but I think I saw a stat this year had like 10 times the most like viewers watching the NBA this season than previous seasons. So the
Yeah.
product is working. Whatever they're doing is working. So yeah, props to Adam Silver. Obviously, it's a little difficult sometimes to watch a game. Sometimes the scheduling's a little bit off. If it's like a West Coast game starts at like 8:30, and someone on the East Coast is trying to watch a game there, it might be a little bit hard for them because they're watching games to 1 to 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Adam Silver, he was in his approach there was very smart, and we'll kind of see how it continues on here next season. What about you?
I've liked them. I actually think, when they was usually just either on YouTube TV or League Pass, that's usually what it was only on the past few years. I think more than likely people are going to have multiple streaming services like an Amazon, like an HBO, like an
Mm-hmm.
NBC, rather than just having YouTube TV or League Pass. So I think that's why it's led to more viewers because people have multiple. So it's like, oh, I don't have NBC, but I have Amazon, so I'll watch the Amazon games, or vice versa. I feel like a lot of people didn't have YouTube TV. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I like it. I enjoy the broadcast. They're taking basketball a lot more seriously compared to the TNT
yeah,
crew,
correct.
which we've talked about before. I love that crew, but they do love to just shit on basketball a little too much.
Yeah,
And the new era, not compared to their old era, and how guys should be
yeah,
playing and why they're not. There's there should be more positivity about the sport and the sport now
yeah,
than there was, and that's kind of I think that's kind of the reason why they're not on TV as much, even though they switch
mhm,
broadcasts. Um,
yeah. I agree, and I like the players, the previous players who have played the game, who they've included in the broadcasts.
mhm.
Dirk's been on there a couple of times. Steve Nash, Jamal
Haslam,
Crawford, even doing a little bit of broadcasting. Yeah, players
Haslam,
like that
yeah,
who, yeah, Udonis Haslam, yeah, the players who, have a lot of ball knowledge, have been in the league for a long time. I think that's good for the NBA fan, and having
it
those
is.
guys have great personalities. They see the game in a different light than the regular announcer or broadcaster will view it. So it's good to kind of have, a plethora of guys there kind of talking about the game.
Yeah. In terms of the first round, I think the only other questions I have, we can kind of just briefly go over, are: do you have any big problems with any teams that you think are going to be worthy of noticing and that could potentially lose a playoff series?
I don't think it can lose a playoff series, but I think it's practically their only weakness, and this is a very nitpicky pick here. Thunder's 3-point shooting. There were some times last year when they were playing the Nuggets where they had a hard time creating offense, or either they'd start creating offense and they'd swing it to an open guy in the corner, and that guy couldn't hit the three. In the playoffs, I feel like that's so important, defending and hitting the three, scoring as much points as possible, then obviously limiting the team to the least amount of points as possible. I think OKC had an issue with the 3-point shooting last playoffs. The Pacers kind of exposed them a little bit. They just couldn't hit open threes. And if they don't hit open threes, obviously they're so good enough to where their defense can kind of combat that. But if they're playing a team that's on fire that night and they're just scoring the ball really well, and then OKC can't score the ball, and they're kind of limited in like a half court offense set, that can give them some problems. Obviously, they have other things that can kind of combat that, like I said previously, but that's something to look at. That happened in a couple games last playoffs, and that led them to go to multiple game sevens. But yeah, that's a nitpicky pick. Then they're still a very, very good team. I think they take it all here. But yeah, that's just an interesting take I had. What do you think about that?
I like that. I agree. I think that's one of their weaknesses, but I think them picking up Jared McCain totally helps that out.
Yeah.
And I don't even think they had that in their cards to play from the beginning of the season. They probably heard that he was available and they were like, "Oh my God, go get him right now." A dude that
they
shoot
got
the
him.
lights out. You got him from nothing. Yeah.
For this can of energy drink, that's got him for free. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
So I think that is going to totally help out. I think he's actually going to get some good minutes this playoffs. And I picked one of the problems is the Cavs jinx. I think Cavs the past few years have had this weird jinx in the playoffs where when the season starts, on paper and even towards the end of the season, I'm like, I like the Cavs. I like Donovan Mitchell. I like Mobley. I like their surrounding players. I like Jared Allen. I like the coaching. They have a good vibe going. And I always think the East is a little weaker. They should breeze past some teams. And then Jared Allen disappears. Mobley gets hurt. Donovan Mitchell gets hurt. Something always happens with them that they usually make it out of the first round, but sometimes they don't. And then when they get in the second round, the team just falls apart with injuries. Is usually what happens. And so I really hope that doesn't happen this year because I like this Cavs team and I don't want them to happen. I think if I was a Cavs fan, I'd be like, if we're gonna lose, let's lose trying and not because of an injury or because of some player gets ejected or some player falls off the face of the earth and can't play good anymore. It's just nothing drastic or dramatic. I want the Cavs to just play good basketball, and if they lose, they lose. If they win, they win. And nothing crazy to happen to them. Yeah,
I agree. I think last year they kind of lacked in depth. Then I think they added Keon Ellis and then also Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder is an amazing playoff kind of backup point guard there. I think in terms of toughness, they're probably lacking there. I think those two guys really help them out there, and hopefully they don't have those lapses that we've seen here in the past couple of years. Yeah, last year I thought they were going really, really far, and then it just didn't pan out the way that they wanted to. So yeah, we'll see. That's a good pick. Yeah, we'll see what the Cavs, if they can overcome that.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go over the last series here in the East. Celtics versus the 76ers. Who do you got?
I've got Celtics in five games. Yeah. No one thought the Celtics would be here. When Jason Tatum got hurt last year, I did not think that they'd be this good. I didn't think Jaylen Brown would take this big of a leap. I've always been a weird Jaylen Brown hater for whatever reason. I was one of those people who said he couldn't go left, he couldn't dribble. Obviously, we know the issues with his hair, things of that nature. I was a big Jaylen Brown hater here. Obviously, when Tatum went down, I thought they were kind of cooked. But, they always find a way. And I think it starts with their coaching.
For sure.
Mazzulla's phenomenal. He's a next-level coach. He's mastered the game of basketball from a coaching standpoint, which is very, very impressive. He's probably going to win Coach of the Year again. Obviously, Jaylen Brown's been playing at MVP level. He's been scoring the ball very efficiently and still getting his teammates involved. Obviously, I think kind of their Swiss Army knife there is Derek White as well. Derek White's been kind of everything for that team. He's been helping them out scoring, obviously creating offense. He's also a great rebounder. Small things like that. the Celtics have really surprised me. Now Jason Tatum's coming back. He's slowly getting in the mix of things. He's had a couple of good games here. Been rebounding the ball very, very well. And they picked up a couple of guys. Keita's been playing well. He's been on their team for a little bit, but he's been playing really well. Yep. And then they grabbed Vucevic, which I think is a very underrated signing.
For free.
I think that he's going to help them out in the playoffs. Obviously, they can go double big there as well. So, yeah, I think the Celtics, Sixers, like I said, they're a team. I don't think they've meshed. Similar to what we were talking about with the Raptors. The Sixers got a lot of good guys, very, very good guys on the team, but they haven't, really meshed. Obviously, Tyrese Maxey's having a great season here. Paul George has been playing well since he got, he came back from his ban from PEDs, which was a crazy story. But no Embiid. VJ's been playing well as a rookie, but I just think that the Celtics are a better, just cohesive team. They're way better coached than the Sixers. And yeah, I just think JT is going to step it up, keep getting back to where he was. And I got Celtics in 5.
I also have Celtics in 5. I wouldn't even be shocked if it's a sweep. Not that I have anything against the Sixers, but like you said, there isn't much left for me to say. You kind of covered all the points about the Celtics. I think the only thing I'd really add here is that Joe Mazzulla, he reminds me a lot of, in terms of coaching, like Mike Vrabel from the Titans in like 2019. We had a lot of injuries, and he would just bring up some random dude from the practice squad and make him look good. That's exactly what he does here. He's bringing out random dudes from the G League, getting them starting minutes. Like, I wouldn't want to sign any dude from the Celtics this offseason because I'd be like, nope, they definitely played way better because they were under Joe Mazzulla. Do not sign them. It's like the same thing with Spoelstra. He does the same thing with the Heat.
Correct.
I think Joe Mazzulla is doing it just as well, and he's even doing it to an extent where I probably do feel a little more confident in signing a player from the Celtics than I do like a Spoelstra player, specifically because I don't know. I feel like he's involving them in the offense, and then there's some nights he doesn't, and they still look good. Like, they overall are just better players. I feel like Spoelstra makes guys good because he puts them in plays. He draws up plays for them. He makes them better specifically for like a specific part of their game. The Celtics, Keita is a stud, and like I genuinely think if he played anywhere else, he would still be great.
Yeah, I think that difference there comes with also like the owners and the GMs of the teams. Obviously, Pat Riley, his seeking out for talent's a little different. Brad Stevens, I feel like when he sees a player, he's good at just guessing and knowing that player is going to be good. Yeah. And then obviously both franchises have great player development. So I think the difference there is just Brad Stevens. Obviously, when Brad Stevens was coaching, he was phenomenal and can identify talent so quickly. And obviously now he's higher up in the ranks now, but he's still obviously making huge decisions for the team. I think that's where they're finding some of those underrated players and giving them bigger names and having them be a part of their playoff run. So yeah, Celtics pretty easy here.
Yeah. I think the only thing I'd say about the Sixers is Maxey could definitely win a game by himself. He's a stud, one of the best players in the East, but they just don't have the depth to match the Celtics. When they go to their bench, the Celtics go to their bench. I could see him pulling away like right then and there, and then the game's over. So, yeah. But now let's move on. Before we move on to the second round, let's talk about a couple of Lakers specific predictions, since we are both Lakers fans. First question I got here is, how can we win without Luka and Reeves for the entire first round? Is there a way? If so, how is that going to happen?
It's a great question. Man, it's going to be difficult. Just kind of looking at the small sample size that I've seen of the Lakers without both of those players here for the last 5 games. Obviously, LeBron's got to be 28 again. Unfortunately, that's just the story of his career. He's got. I've been kind of watching the games very, very closely. The first half, he's all scores mentality, just making sure he's putting the ball in the net at a very high efficient rate. And then the second half, he really dials it down and gets his teammates involved. He'll go from having 2 assists in the first half to finishing with 15. So I think that approach from him is it's going to be important. I think that obviously if the Rockets make an adjustment to that, he's going to have to make an adjustment. But it's LeBron James, he's going to make an adjustment to that. But I think that approach, especially for the first couple of games, is ideal. I think, like you said earlier, Rui Hachimura, he's, in terms of efficiency, he's one of the most efficient players in the league. He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. He needs to get up more shots. He's a very, very good shooter. He's improved his shooting so much since he's been on the Lakers. He's going to be that X factor. He needs to put the ball in the net, whether it's him getting the ball at the elbow, whether it's him hitting corner threes. He needs to be involved a ton. And then obviously DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton over the season, there's some games where he's been dominating. And then there's some games where he's just been lackadaisical and lazy and you know, kind of checked out. So he needs to be on point. In terms of scheming, for the first couple of games, the approach that they played with Durant, just kind of sending one when he catches the ball in his spots, making him think as a playmaker instead of a scorer. I think that's the approach to kind of go in the series with. Obviously, you know, Udoka is going to counter that, but I'd say you start off the series like that, and that could possibly get you 1 or 2 games here. And then even LeBron said it today in an interview, they got to rebound the basketball. You said it earlier, they're one of the best rebounding teams this season. So DeAndre Ayton, Kleba, Jackson Hayes, those guys got to rebound the basketball. Yeah, even Braun, Rui, they have to rebound the basketball and limit offensive rebounds. If not, those second chance points from Houston is going to kill them. So, yeah, I think those things are going to help them get a couple games here. They need to shoot the three at a high rate. The Lakers are very good in transition, so they need to get out and run. And that's just getting stops, rebounding the basketball, and that opens everything up. I think LeBron was leading the league in transition points this season. So getting out and run, obviously, if LeBron has the ball in if he gets the ball in transition, it's good things are going to happen. Yeah, he's so good. Getting the ball out in transition, kind of catching Houston on their heels, and just playing with force and purpose. Houston's somewhat athletic. They have an athletic team with Amen, Jabari. The Lakers aren't very athletic. So it's playing with force, playing with purpose. I think those are things that is kind of that can help the Lakers out and possibly win a couple games here and even possibly win the series.
Yeah. So I agree with you on everything you said. Yours was very player centered. A lot of my reasons here are a lot more team centered. I think they got to play really good defense, and I actually think we have some players that are going to have to play some minutes that are pretty good defenders. They just don't score very well. So we're going to have some really weird lineups. But I think they're going to be pretty good defensive lineups. So I think we're going to be able to play good defense. We need to rebound, like you said. We need to limit turnovers. If we turn the ball over and Rockets score off of those turnovers, I'm going to turn my TV off. The game's over. That's one of the biggest things. If we turn the ball over a ton and the Rockets start scoring in transition, it's over. It's wraps. Every possession matters with this offense. Is going to be kind of brutal. We cannot waste time. We can't go multiple possessions in a row with a Braun ISO, fuck you 3 brick, and then it turns into a Rui Hachimura ISO into a brick mid-range. We can't do that multiple times in a row, or else the Rockets are going to thrive off of it. Force Amen to score, anyone else but Sengun and Durant, basically. And the last thing is we're going to have some guys step up that haven't done anything all year. Who's this jersey on? I don't know if you know who this is. Number 4.
Dalton Connect.
It's a Dalton Connect jersey. My dad got me this as a Christmas present. I think he thought he was going to play more. This is last year.
Yeah.
And he does not play at all anymore. he's probably gonna have to get some minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, he got some tick last game. He scored really well. I think he had in limited minutes he's shooting the lights out. His problem, he can score the ball. He's more than just a spot up shooter.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of him at Tennessee. The dude can score the ball. The problem is his defense, and he's not in the gaps, and he's an awful defender.
Awful. So I doesn't know the plays.
At all. So he's kind of just
doesn't watch film. There. I don't know what it is, but yeah,
yeah. I don't know what's going on with him, but yeah, possibly he can play in there and provide shooting and provide shot making.
Because we need
going to be very important.
Bad.
Yeah.
So if any time he was desperate to play minutes, this is your time, dude. Unironically, at the most important part of the season, we need Dalton Connect to step up and score some points. But I'm not super untrust. I'm not scared or anything. We drafted the dude in the first round. He played really well his rookie year, and then we kind of almost traded him, and then we're like, never mind, you can stay here, and it just ruined his confidence. He needs to
confidence.
It's been over a year. He needs to brush it off and lock in and play some basketball. He's getting paid millions of dollars, and he's past his rookie year. He needs to just grow up a little bit and play up to your standards. Think about how well he was playing, that first half of his rookie season. He was a stud. He had a 34-point game. If we can get one of those games, I will be so happy. I'm not expecting it, but if we can get a game where he can give me 15, 20, I'll feel really good about our chances of winning that game. So
yeah,
but there's other guys. If Bronny for some reason wants to give me 12, if Vando pulls out a couple threes, if Maxi Kleber hits a couple threes, I'm asking a lot of weird players to step up and give me points. Yeah. But where we're at this point, I'm not gonna just rely on Luke Kennard and LeBron to hold down the fort. I need DeAndre Ayton to give me a 20 and 15 game or something. I need a dominating game, at least one.
Yeah.
I need him to completely. He's dominated. Well, didn't the beginning of the season? Didn't he dominate Wemby in a game? Didn't we Didn't he have
he had a couple of great games. Just straight.
I need one of those at least.
Yeah, him is just a mentality thing. If he's checked out, you're not getting anything. If he's checked in, dude's a really good player. Great in the pick and roll.
Yeah.
He has a pretty good, decent mid range jump shot. The problem is his hands. You can't catch the ball. Dude. He's very clumsy. That's the word.
Yeah,
he's a very really clumsy player.
Yeah.
So, and obviously that's not something you can. He's kind of been like that his whole career. He's just got to stay solid and and kind of put his big boy pants on. Hopefully, he can do something here. So I think I agree with what you said. It's got to be a different player every single game. That's kind of how the Lakers can possibly pull out. Marcus Smart, huge X factor. Obviously, with defense, if he can hit a couple threes,
that dude's so inconsistent with his threes. Holy shit!
Yeah,
he'll
some
be
days
on
he's
fire one game, and then another game. I'm like, dude, stop shooting the ball, swing it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a super up and down player, but his defense is obviously really good, obviously, and he has playoff experience.
Yeah,
I think it's got to be a different guy every game, like you said, Vando, Kleba, even possibly Bronny. It's crazy. Yeah, we're at that point as Lakers fans, but hopefully JJ can kind of scheme something and they can kind of figure it out here for the first round of the series.
Dude, Bronny's putting up better stats right now than Richard on the Hawks, dude. First pick in the draft.
No one talks about that. Bronny's been playing well.
Holy. He doesn't even get minutes anymore, dude.
The fact that the Hawks are this good and they've messed up so many times is that's what's scary.
Number 1 pick in the draft.
Number 1 pick, yeah.
And they don't even use him.
Yeah, they don't even use him. That's what's scary. That's when the Hawks are yeah, they have a lot of promise.
Last question about the Lakers. A little more simple of a question. Maybe not. Can LeBron do it one more time? Can he take over? And kind of adding to that question, do you think this is the worst team LeBron's had to walk into the playoffs with?
Okay, to answer your first question, I will never doubt my king. I don't care if he's 50. I don't care if he's 65. I don't care. My king, he's mastered the game of basketball from a different standpoint than everyone else has. His IQ is so high. he can literally take over a game whenever he wants. I think he's very sharp. These last couple 5 games, he's been very, very sharp. He's been shooting the ball at a high clip. He's so efficient. He's not putting up 26 shots a game. He's going to give you 17, 18 shots and get you 30. He's just the game of basketball is just it's come so easy for him. It is a tall task to ask at 41. The team that they're playing, I think it could possibly happen. We'll kind of see, how, the other players around LeBron, can respond. In terms of the talent, in terms of the team being the worst team, I'll say it like this. I think it is obviously one of the worst teams he's kind of led in the playoffs. The other worst teams, like for instance, we'll say the 2018 Cavs team or the 2015 Cavs team when Kyrie and Kevin Love got hurt. Those teams were built for LeBron in terms of him just kind of being the number one guy and those guys kind of feeding off of him. LeBron's been always a good slasher and obviously shot creator to where he needs like a 3-point specialist or 3-and-D guys kind of out at the wings. And then kind of like a 4 that's like a stretch 4. So in terms of like 2018, guys like Clarkson, Jeff Green, Kyle Korver, those players, they can hit it. Rodney Hood, those players were, LeBron was driving and attacking, kick out. Those guys could hit a shot. Same thing with 2015 Cavs, Dellavedova, J.R. Smith, Channing Frye. Players like that, they could kind of, feed off of the way he plays and, they can kind of mesh together. With this team, it's a little different because you're not having spot up shooters who are great 3-and-D defenders and who can also hit shots kind of at those wings. You don't have a stretch 4 that can kind of mesh with LeBron. You just have a big, center who sometimes plays well and sometimes doesn't. You're not going to kick the ball out to Marcus Smart and feel very comfortable as compared to like a Kyle Korver. You know what I mean? So it's a little different. The team doesn't really mesh to his abilities. But, if they hit shots, you can help him out a lot. So I think this is not technically the worst team. I think they have more talent than some of the 2018 team and the 2015 team.
Those
but in
young
terms
Cavs
of
teams were bad.
Yeah, bad. Well, yeah. If we take it back that far, that might be. That's it. Those 2007. Yeah, no man, those are horrible teams. But in terms of just kind of the modern era here, I don't think there's his worst teams, but I think this is the team that doesn't fit around him. That fits around him the least. I'll say that.
Yeah, I agree. I picked the Lakers to win. I think LeBron can do it one more time, but I think we've talked about it before. The Lakers did not expect to get Luka. It just kind of fell into their lap, so they weren't really prepared to build the team around him and LeBron and Reeves. I just think it's like a weird mesh. Like all of a sudden, they haven't really had much time to prepare for it. And they probably wouldn't have signed some guys if they knew Luka was going to be on the team and not AD. It's just been a really weird last 2 years. So I think like this next upcoming offseason, if LeBron retires or if he plays again, whatever it is, I think they'll be able to prepare for it more.
Yeah.
Sign some shooters, sign some guys that fit along the team better. But I think it's going to be a really weird series. I'm kind of excited for it, and it's going to be really weird and interesting. It's going to be fun to talk about. Yeah. Moving on to the second round matchups. First, we got Thunder versus you have the Rockets and I have the Lakers. You can go first.
Thunder in 4 or 5. I think this is going to be the easiest series for the Thunder.
More than the Warriors, really.
I think that. I think they just match up well against them. Their wings, like I said earlier, is just too much for both of those teams. Thunder in 4, Thunder in 5.
For Thunder versus Lakers for me, I got Thunder in 6. I think Luka will be back by this point, and I almost think maybe even Reeves maybe can get in a game or two, depending on how bad his injury is. But I still got Thunder in 6.
You have so much hope.
I do have hope. If we have Luka, I have a lot more hope.
You think that they went to Europe and got like vibranium in their body?
Dude, what the hell would they have gone to all the way to Spain for if it wasn't some fucking super serum to like make them stronger? Like, what else would they be doing? Like,
they're good.
I just don't think they would actually take the time to send him there, and he wouldn't want to go there if it didn't actually mean it was gonna like really work on him. If they had any sort of doubt, they probably would have been like, nah, just stay here. Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know he wants to play. I know the Lakers want him to play, but like they wouldn't risk the injury unless they really were confident like this is gonna work. So I think they know it's gonna work. So if we make it to the second round, I think he'll be back. And but the Thunder are gonna be a lot more refreshed. Probably having a quick series with the Warriors, and they've had our number all year. And maybe we won one game. I can't remember, but I feel like we haven't played them with a full team. Anyways, I feel like most of the time we played them, someone was out or something. Anyways, I think Luka has at least one crazy game, and then the other game we win. If I have them in 6, is like everyone steps up. Reeves, LeBron, Luka have great games. We win, but Thunder, we just don't have the defense for it at all. We have the offense to cook like any team. We even have the offense with all 3 of our guys to outmatch a Thunder team, but our defense is so bad with Reeves and Luka that the Thunder are just gonna whoop our ass. So, no confidence here, really. I mean, I have hope, but not that much hope here at all. Yeah. All right, moving on. Spurs versus Nuggets, fun series. Yeah. Who do you got?
Yeah, you got the battle of the big boys here with Wemby and Jokic. This one's going to be interesting. I think this is where the Spurs inexperience kind of comes to fruition here. In terms of their players, there's rookie guys and their second-year guys, and then also coaching. Spurs coach, he's been doing really well this year, but in terms of, making adjustments and kind of, combating and adjusting his team, he hasn't done that. Alman's he's watched Mike Malone do that for the past couple of years, and he did it great last year in the playoffs when the Nuggets were in the postseason. So I got the Nuggets here. I think their experience, the chemistry of those 3 guys with Gordon, Murray, and Jokic. I think Murray is playing at an outstanding level this year. He's taken it up a notch. Jokic is Jokic. And then, like I said, Denver did a great job this season. Obviously, their bench play has been a little inconsistent, but the fact that they have them there, last year they were completely they were kind of shook when Jokic would go to the bench with the non-Jokic minutes. I feel like those guys can contribute, at least one of them.
Yeah,
I think that helps them out here, and I got Nuggets in 6.
I have the Spurs in 7. And my reasons for this, I was very toss up. It's like 51% Spurs, 49% Nuggets. I almost picked Nuggets in 7. But my only lenience here, there's actually a couple of reasons why. One, I think the Nuggets are going to be tired from that Wolves series. They're going to come into this series
Good point.
like going, because I think they're going into 7 versus the Wolves. They're going to come into the series gas. Spurs just got it done in 6, maybe even 5 against the Blazers, and they're young, and so I think they're going to come out of the gates hot and go up 2-0, but I think the Nuggets will ease into the series. They're going to make some good coaching adjustments, even it back up to 2-2, and then my only reason why I think the Spurs are going to take it away in 7 is because I think Wemby wants it more. Like you said earlier, he's been like calling everyone out, and he's like, I don't care if we're young, we're going to go get it. I think he really wants it, and he's better than he was past 2 years. This is going to be his first playoffs. I think he'll get all the playoff nervous bugs with the Blazers series, and he'll ease into this series. And I just think we haven't seen him in a playoff series. That dude is unstoppable in the regular season, and it's going to be even crazier to see him. Like how teams are going to try to defend him after seeing him multiple nights in a row. It's going to be like, what do we do next? Like, we've kind of thrown everything we can at him. And you could say the same thing for Jokic, but think Wemby being so crazy good offense and defensively, it's going to be like he's going to put Jokic in a box for sure. Like, obviously he's not as strong as Jokic, but he's going to force Jokic into some tough fadeaways. It's not going to look as easy for Jokic as it always does because he's going to get against a dude that's taller than him. But I also think this, yeah.
Sorry, that's where I disagree with you. We saw, and honestly, I think Anthony Davis is one of the greatest defensive players in our generation. He's very, very underrated. Jokic was doing Anthony Davis disgusting.
For sure.
Obviously, Wemby's a little different. He's obviously a little different build. He's probably going to be unanimous boy. But Jokic is just way too good. There's just nothing you can do. Like, it generally gets to a point of like, yeah.
But Jokic or Wemby has a way better chance of trying to stop Jokic than the other way around. Jokic isn't doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Wemby. Yeah, 100%.
Like,
that's a good point.
The athleticism is like way different. And that's also why I think the Spurs is going to win because they're a lot faster and younger. I think when it gets down to the game 6, game 7, when the Nuggets are tired after just playing another 7-game series, is when Stephon Castle, Wemby, Fox, all these young, fast players are going to be like, catch up with us. And the fact that the Spurs had the Thunder's number this year is really what set me like, I remember that. I'm like, damn, the Thunder couldn't do anything against the Spurs. And I think this is where, this is kind of an upset in my mind. I do think the Nuggets were a better team this season, even though the Spurs were higher seed. Like, I like going to the playoffs, I was thinking Nuggets more confident. But when I sat down and looked at this, I was like, you know what? My gut's telling me Wemby is just going to like just play better. He's just going to want it more. Yeah. The Spurs are going to want it more. The fans are going to want it more in San Antonio. And I don't know. Like, maybe next year, Nuggets. I don't know. Is there a way the Nuggets could get better? They're pretty damn good. I don't know if there's really anything they can add that would really like up their game. Like realistically add. You know what I mean? And the Spurs can get better from here. You know what I mean? Like, they're all young and they can get better. So I just think they're gonna show their how good they are. I didn't think they were gonna be the fucking 2 seed at all going into the season. Not at all. I thought they'd be 6 seed, maybe a 5th seed. Wemby, I knew Wemby was going to be a lot better, but I didn't think the team was going to be this good. Everyone's clicking, and they are really well coached. And I don't know. A gut feeling here. Like I said, I almost picked the Nuggets. It's very, very close. This is probably my closest matchup out of the entire playoffs, even more than Nuggets-Wolves. But I just lean Spurs for some reason.
Good points. We'll see what happens. I like the point that you brought up with the Spurs being faster. And if it gets like the crunch time moments, the Spurs just kind of, beating the Nuggets with their speed. I kind of see it on an opposite spectrum to where the Nuggets, that cohesiveness and chemistry and them being in moments like that before, they kind of know what to do. You know what I mean? Whereas like, the Spurs might be way too fast and thinking way too ahead of their minds to where they end up making mistakes. And again, they don't have that cohesiveness and like those tough playoff moments yet. So it's just a different way of looking at things. But yeah, we'll see what happens. That's gonna be a good one. Yeah.
All right. Next series, we're gonna move over to the East. We got Pistons versus Cavs. Who do you got?
This is an interesting series.
It is.
Wow. Pistons, Cavs. Man. I think this, first of all, I think this goes to 7 games.
I agree.
It's gonna be a little difficult. Pistons, obviously younger. But Cavs being inconsistent and never really, taking it to the next level. This is a good one. Very, very good one. I'm gonna lean Cavs in 7.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean Cavs in 7. I think James Harden has a good series. I think the double big lineup of Allen and Mobley can kind of limit Duran. Especially him, this being his, him not having too much experience in the playoffs. Cade's injury is also, a little bit of, kind of suspect to me. I think they can get past that A seed with him playing not as good as he not as good as he was during the season. But he needs to be, back to original Cade in that second series, and obviously as their playoff dreams continue. So I'm gonna lean the Cavs. I just think they have a lot more lineups they can throw at the Pistons, and the Pistons being a little younger, I think it kind of changes things. So yeah, I'm gonna go Cavs.
I agree with you that it goes 7. Mm-hmm. I think it's gonna be the Pistons. I want the Cavs to win. I actually really like the Cavs. I always have like a weird soft spot for the Cavs. I like their jerseys. I like the town. I really like Donovan Mitchell, and I like Harden.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like Mobley. I think the team's really fun, and it matches up really well against a lot of teams. My only reason why I picked the Pistons over them is their defense. Pistons had the best defense, besides maybe the Thunder, all year. Yeah. And I just think when it comes down to the clutch, they're going to do really well defensively against like a Mobley and a Harden. And I am going to trust that the Cavs jinx won't fully go away. Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like I said, hopefully it doesn't happen, but I feel like something's going to happen where someone disappears or someone gets injured. I don't know. It just always happens with the Cavs. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's a better series. I think it will go to 7. I don't know. Something tells me the Pistons will pull it out a little bit, and I think it's going to come down to Cade Cunningham playing his ass off in one of the later games in the series. Him and Duran are a great duo, one of the best duos in the league. Both these teams have their problems, but I think the Pistons will squeeze it out. I think it's going to be kind of an ugly series. There's going to be a lot of ugly games where it's like 100 to like 97, like really low scoring for today's league. And it's really going to come down to some big shots at the end. Yeah. Moving on to the last series of the second round, we got Celtics versus Knicks. Who do you got? How many games and why?
I've got Celtics in 5. Yeah, I think Celtics. One, I think they're seeking a little bit of some revenge here from last year. Obviously, them playing last year and JT blowing out his Achilles. I think the Celtics have the Knicks number. I think in terms of head coaching, again, like we mentioned previous, Missoula is just out of this world. Mike Brown, he's a good coach. I just don't think he's at that Missoula level. The Knicks are very inconsistent. Sometimes it's just give the ball to Brunson and have him do a couple dribble moves and shoot a fadeaway jumper at the elbow. Yeah. And then Josh Hart, sometimes he's inconsistent. His 3 balls sometimes can get a little inconsistent. Same with Mikal Bridges. Cat, in terms of him, being very effective, Cat is one of the, in retrospect, he's one of the best big men in our generation, if you really think about it. But sometimes in the playoffs, he tends to kind of,
foul out.
He tends to kind of, he just tends to kind of fall short. He's a very interesting player. I don't know why he's off and on, but he's got to be on for the Knicks to even have a chance. I think Jaylen Brown and Tatum, I think at that time Tatum will be a little bit more settled in. And then obviously Derek White. I think the Celtics are just had more cohesion. And that's just going to ultimately, take them past the Knicks. Yeah, I've got the Celtics in 5. I don't think the Knicks stand a chance.
I got Celtics in 6. I give Knicks one more game strictly because I think Tatum has an off game, where he's still coming back from the injury, and I think maybe Jaylen Brown doesn't play as well, and Brunson has a big game. And then maybe the other game they win is some close down to the wire game. But yeah, I think Celtics are just a lot better team, a lot more consistent, coached well. Everything you said, pretty much the same thing I feel here. Yeah. Well, moving on to the conference finals matchups. You have Thunder versus Nuggets. I have Thunder versus Spurs. Who do you got? And how many games and why?
I've got Thunder in 7. This is probably going to be the premier matchup of the entire playoffs. Obviously, we know last year it did go to 7 as well. What's interesting here, Nuggets last year during that OKC series, they were a little banged up. Jokic was hurt. Aaron Gordon was having, I believe, the hamstring issue. And they still took him to 7. I think in terms of a playoff, opponent, the Nuggets are probably the Thunder's, worst nightmare in terms of potentially upsetting them. There had to be a couple games where the Thunder really had to lock in. And not just beat you from them just being from a talent perspective and just beat you from the way their team is built. They had to really they were tested. I think the Nuggets tested them the most during last playoffs. Obviously, the Pacers had some heroic moments and Tyrese Halliburton doing his thing and sometimes CJ McCollum giving you 10 in a random quarter. But in terms of just like strictly matchup and kind of coaches just kind of playing chess versus checkers. I think that the Nuggets were giving the Thunder the most issues last year. As pertaining to this year, obviously the Nuggets are kind of hot. They're on a good run here over the last end of the regular season. I think the Thunder, with the experience that they had last year, Shea just being just a really good basketball player, and then also their bench scoring, I think that outlasts the Nuggets bench scoring, and then the Thunder take it here in 7. But it's a toss-up. I think this series is going to really determine who wins the whole thing, and yeah, we'll see how everything goes. What about you? You had Thunder Spurs.
Yeah, and going a little bit of against the grain here, even though the Spurs, I believe they beat them 3 out of the 4 times they played them this year. And they kind of whooped their ass in like 2 of them.
Yeah.
I still have the Thunder here in 6.
6. Wow. Okay.
And my reason why is because this is where I see the Spurs seeing the no experience. This is where it comes to a halt. And I think they will be tired from this Nuggets series. It'll show because playoff stamina is completely different no matter how the age you are. If you're 19 or you're 40, like it's a completely different thing playing so many games against the same players and the high energy, and then playing another team that's even better and a completely different pace and all the above. I just think the team, they have so many young players. They're really young. Like they're really young. It's not like a couple of these guys are in their 3rd, 4th year. These guys are like rookies or first, second years. It's crazy how young they are, and they're this good.
Everyone outside of Harrison Barnes
and Fox, it's really young.
And Fox,
So I just think this is where it comes to a halt. Even though they've had the Thunder's number, I think they're going to be too tired. And the fact that the Thunder got 60 wins and they didn't have their starting 5 from last year play a lot of games together because they had so many weird injuries. I think that now that their team is healthy, plus they add Jared McCain, I think they're going to look better than they have all year. That's what I kind of think the Thunder are going to look like, and I think the coaching is a big difference here. And I don't know. I just think they're gonna show their true colors, and they're gonna show the Spurs kind of what they didn't see in the regular season. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it goes to 7. But the reason I have it in 6 is just because I think the Thunder are going to dominate, and this is where they're going to be like, all right, the Thunder, they're champions. They're going to show why they won it last year. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Shea's going to step up.
It's going to be so It's going to be so interesting with the rookies and even Fox. Thunder can do so many things with their wings. Yeah. What makes them good, obviously, all their wings are good defenders, but they all have different body types and ways that they defend. So, for instance, a Stephon Castle, right? Game 1, they might throw a Caruso at him, just to kind of hound him, just to, he's a young player here, just to kind of, get his emotions going. Next game, he doesn't even know it. they go ahead and throw Kason Wallace,
Mm-hmm.
and then they can throw Lou Dort, a bigger body.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many things that they can do that can fluster those young, Spurs guards that I feel like that's going to kind of be, yeah, if that was the matchup that can kind of fluster them, and kind of take them to the championship. But yeah, it's a toss up. I agree. But yeah, Thunder just a great team. We'll say that. Just a very, very good team.
Yeah. Moving to the East, we got Celtics and Pistons for me, and Celtics and Cavs for you. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Celtics in 5 again. I think, yeah,
5.
I think that the Celtics blow throughout the entire East.
Right.
They're on a completely different level. I think this is where the Cavs, that inconsistency, really, you can't be inconsistent with the Celtics. They have too many counters. They've been here before. They've seen it. They've seen it all. JB and JT have seen a lot. So I think that's where their experience and their coaching kind of comes to fruition. And they take them out in 5. I don't think Harden has a good series here. I think that either Mobley or Allen, probably Allen at this point, would be a little checked out. There's a famous quote by him saying that the lights were too bright a couple seasons ago. I think this is where
like, what kind of quote is that? Like,
I know. I think this is where it comes back again. And yeah, I just think the Celtics, which is absolutely crazy to even think that they'd be in this spot. I think the Celtics go back to the finals.
crazy, and I agree with you. I got Celtics in 6 here versus the Pistons. I just think they're going to be too experienced, too overwhelming. This is like the same thing with the Spurs. This is where I see the Pistons running into not enough experience, a little gassed from not ever being this deep into the playoffs and playing this deep into a season. And I think they'll learn. I think both the Spurs and the Pistons will learn their lessons here, come back next year even better, and this will be a completely different conversation. But this year, I think that's my kind of excuse for both teams. It's just, it's not even the experience. I think actually more the stamina than anything, I really think. I think they're going to be like, whoa, I haven't played this much. I haven't played this long. I haven't played these hard of games ever in my life. You know what I mean? College, NBA, whatever it is. These have such higher stakes, such higher energy. The crowd's more into it, everything. It's completely different than anything they've played in their lives. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be different. Especially if they go all the way to the conference finals, like the Spurs and the Pistons, they're gonna be like, "Whoa, we're like right here. Like I can smell the championship." It's different. But with Thunder and Celtics here being experienced, they're gonna be like, "You're gonna have to wait. We're gonna go back again." So, Celtics are just gonna be too good, I think, offensively and just cohesively, and I think Joe Mazzulla is gonna coach circles around the Pistons' entire roster and coaching staff. So. Yeah. Let's move on to the finals matchup. We both have Thunder versus Celtics. Who do you got and what? And then I'll ask him more specific questions about the series.
Here, I'm gonna switch it. So I want you to answer this first.
Okay.
I want to see. Yeah, I want to see your thoughts and kind of see where your head's at with it.
I have the Thunder in 7.
Okay.
I have this going to 7. I feel more confident in the Celtics team than I did the Pacers. I can't believe the Pacers went that far last year. Oh my god! Every time I think about it, I'm like, what the hell? It was such not a fluke, but such a anomaly of a weird events. That team was just so hot, and
they heated up at the right time,
down. And at all crazy shots after crazy shots. That team on paper does not look like a finals team at all.
No.
But they played really well, and they took the Thunder to 7 too, which is insane. But with here, I just think Shea is the best player in the series by far, and that's why I take the Thunder. It's kind of simple in that. I think every game is going to be close. I don't think there's going to be any blowouts, and I think it's just going to be who's hitting shots every night, who, which offense is playing better, which defense is playing better. It's going to be really close. You're going to remember moments in this series, really well because they're going to really define games. You're going to remember
Hmm.
when the Thunder go on a 9-0 run to start the fourth,
Hmm.
because now it's like they're up 9. It's the biggest lead of the game because it's been close all game. Things like
Hmm.
that. It's going to feel like a very tight series. I don't think it's going to be any blowouts. I think these teams are very close in talent this year. And yeah, I just think it's
Yeah.
going to be all down to Shea. I think he's going to clutch up and he's going to hit some big shots. What do you think?
I like that take. I really do. This one's a toss up. It's a toss up. Just from a NBA stats standpoint, we've never seen a team repeat since the 2018 Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 17-18 Warriors, and obviously that team was one of the greatest teams of all time. Thunder, they look like one of the greatest teams of all time as well. So in terms of that leverage, it could very much play out that way. Um, I have questions about J Dub. Obviously, he didn't play a lot this year with the injury. If
Mm-hmm.
he's back to what he was, I think last finals he had like a 40-point game and he was playing really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then if Chet plays good as well, I think he's also an X factor in this series. Because the Celtics would have to bring a big man out because Chet can play on the perimeter.
Yeah.
So that can kind of free up the lane, and then Hartenstein can kind of initiate offense at the elbow like he typically does.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the OKC's wings, they can throw different stuff at Tatum and Brown.
Yeah.
You can throw a Lou Dort on Tatum one game, throw a Lou Dort on Brown the next. There's so many things they can do with packages they can kind of do. And then in terms of coaching, that's two of the top 5 coaches in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I think both coaches. People had doubts about Dagnall in the playoffs. He proved last year that he's amazing. He's an amazing coach, and he can be when he's tested, he can react and respond very, very well. Obviously, we talked about Mazzulla previously. He's fantastic. So it's going to be a battle of coaching as well. It's tough. It's very, very tough here. You also can think about you also think about Tatum. He might not be 100%. I think it's going to be a battle of who's more of themselves, or at least who's more healthy, between Dub and Tatum. But I'm going to go Thunder in 7. I'm going to agree with you here. I think you brought up some good points here.
Yeah.
I think Shea's going to have some of those Shea performances like he did, in Game 4 against the Nuggets last year. The Thunder just never get rattled. Both teams. The reason why this one is, the reason why this one's interesting is because, some teams in the playoffs, they get blown out by 30 one game. Their morale is completely rattled. Their confidence is completely gone. Thunder can get blown up by 40, and the Celtics, and they're even killed. That's what's scary. I feel like that separates the good playoff teams with the great playoff teams. So, both teams are very experienced, very skilled. Both coaches can counter and adjust on the fly, literally on the fly.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go Thunder here. I think that they have they have more talent. I think that their season, just Shea doing it all alone without J-Dub most of the year and them still winning 60 games is so impressive. Like you said, the McCain pickup was such an underrated pickup. I think he provides some good 3-point shooting. I think Caruso's big in this series as well, just kind of getting his hands in everywhere. Obviously, Lou Dort playing like a football player out there and kind of
fucking
bothering.
Celtics are scared of him, dude. Hurting him.
Yeah, he's just he's crazy. And then also Hartenstein. Being a big body, obviously they could do double big as well to match Kita and Vucevic. And then Thunder's wings off the bench. The Thunder just look great. Well, I think the Thunder would be the first team since 2018 to go back to back. So I got the Thunder in 7.
Another thing I could add here, I just think the Thunder have a better roster. And that the whole year the Celtics got by, we didn't think they'd be the 2 seed because on paper they don't look like a 2 seed, but they're coaching and their cohesiveness and their chemistry, boosted them to a 2 seed. I think this right here is where we see maybe some Tatum. We missed Tatum. Tatum hasn't fully synced up yet. Maybe with a tougher defense, we see him not link up as well, not being there all year. And maybe Jaylen Brown has a dud game or two because of the tough defense. Whatever it is, I don't know. I just think that the Thunder have a better roster, and I think they have better players. Like Shea's a better player than anyone on the Celtics. And I don't know. I just have a feeling that the Thunder will take over, and I agree with you. First team to go back-to-back since 18 Warriors. You know what? I wouldn't even be surprised if they went for a triple P next year. Wouldn't even be surprised. You think they're just going to stop all of a sudden?
It depends. No, it depends. Well, Sam Presti's just.
Dude.
It depends on because they have a lottery pick,
dude.
yeah, they have a lottery pick next year. If they grab like an AJ
falls to them at like 2 or something.
It's gonna be, and the next year's draft class is absolutely. You could get an all-star at like the 10th pick next year. That's how stacked the draft is next year. So that's also why I think this is kind of irrelevant to the point. That's why I think the Pacers are also tanking so hard, is because they grab one of those players. The Pacers are right back to where they left off.
Zubac
next
too.
year, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got Zubac for free. Yeah, So we'll see what happens. But like you said, Thunder, I just think that their roster, they can give you too many. You can't. They can give you so many options that I don't think other teams are built like that. And the closest team that is built like that is the Nuggets. So yeah, I agree with you. I got the Thunder and Sun.
All right, just a couple other questions here to wrap up the episode before we get to the conclusion. A fun question I wanted to ask is which player is an X factor that casual fans aren't talking about? And this can be off any team we've talked about. It doesn't have to be off our finals matchups. Any player off any team that you think is a lot more important than people are talking about.
It depends on if they get in. Dylan Brooks for the Suns, I think, is a huge X factor. Obviously, Suns were playing even killed when he was healthy in the beginning of the season. He was, close to being an all-star. I think he gives them a sense of toughness. Mm-hmm. Obviously, his, kind of the way he acts and, his trolling on the court. He's also a very tough player, and he's a player that you want on your team. I feel like he's a very big X factor. For sure. For the Hawks. Probably gonna win Most Improved. He has the playoff experience. He had it with Minnesota. But he's gonna be asked of a bigger role. Obviously, he's gonna be asked to score the ball a little bit more than he was on Minnesota. Mm-hmm. So I want to see him kind of, continue, his rise in the playoffs here and not just make it be a regular season thing. I think Chet, especially in those later rounds, is going to be an X factor. There's going to be so many games where, obviously Shea and J-Dub are going to do their thing, but Chet can bring such a huge matchup problem to an opposing team. He can play inside. He can play outside. He has great handles. He's a great defender. That's why Thunder can put him in so many different packages. I feel like he's going to play a vital role. And there was even some games last year against the Nuggets where he was playing really, really well. So I think, he needs to have a big playoffs here for them to kind of, keep it going and play very well. And then lastly, and he played well last year. He had a couple of game winners, near perennial all-star, Aaron Gordon for the Nuggets. Last year he was a little bit banged up, had the hamstring injury, but when he was on, I know, they said he was out for the series, came back next game, just dunked it out. When he's on, the Nuggets are so hard to beat. He developed his three to a point where you have to respect it. Dude,
as a
those
Lakers
corner
fan,
threes.
It's so annoying. The dude did not know how to score basketball without windmilling it. When he was in Orlando.
At all.
Now
he's
like
developed
hitting
his
up
game.
Like corner threes, sitting in the dunker spot the entire game. It's like, Oh my
Yeah.
god, he's really hard to stop. He is an absolute mood killer for the other team.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you could be down 5. You're like, all right, Jokic missed a couple shots, and he'll hit like 2 random threes. The crowd will explode. It's like timeout. Holy shit! Like the entire they just start on this huge run, and he's always like a big part of it. Yeah.
He's such a good role player. He's again a perennial all-star. Like you were talking, his development of his jump shot's phenomenal. He can play inside and out. He's a solid defender, not anything crazy, but he's just a big body. He's a big body, you know. Typically when they're playing the Lakers, they're throwing him on LeBron. He's just a tough matchup. He's like a Julius. He's just a tough matchup.
Yeah.
That you don't really want to deal with. And then the last player here, and this kind of goes for every playoff series that he's in. Since the beginning of his career here, it's just Karl Anthony Towns. I think that, you know, if the Knicks want to get to that next level, he's got to buck up. You know, he has a tendency sometimes of playing soft, settling for the 3 at the top of the key. We saw success with Minnesota when he was, you know, putting his head down and driving the ball and doing that little weird hook shot when he goes to his left. He needs to be 25-10, 25-12 nights if the Knicks want to make some noise. You can't have Brunson give you 40 and Cat giving you 12-5. I don't like him settling. He has great touch. He's good around the hoop. Obviously, he's one of the greatest 3-point big men, you know, ever. But maybe playing best. Tough. Him playing tough and him getting to the basket. You know, he's capable. He's seen it all. He's been in so many series. He has experience. He's been in the huge series. He's, you know, been in the league a long time. So if he figures it out this year and he's very consistent, I think that can, you know, take the Knicks at least past the Hawks, and kind of, you know, help them out here in the East and possibly make a push. What about you? So I gave a lot of players there.
No, you're good. I love it. I got 3 players here. My number 1 is I talked about him a little bit earlier. Is De'Aaron Fox. I think if he has like kind of a sloppy series that, like for example against the Nuggets in the second round, then they can get knocked out there. I think he kind of holds the team together in the clutch, and he's a good vet in the backcourt. I don't know. He doesn't have to do amazing. I'm not saying he has to put up, you know, 25, but if he can give you a really good 20 to 22, especially if he gives you most of it in the fourth, then I feel confident about the Spurs. Other names I have, Evan Mobley for the Cavs.
Yeah.
I think if he kind of disappears, sometimes he does scoring wise, he'll always play good defense. And usually get some rebounds, but sometimes he just like doesn't look to score. Not necessarily that he misses a bunch of shots. Sometimes he just like almost looks like he's like, you do it, you know, you go score.
Yeah.
He'll just swing the ball a ton. You know, now that they have Harden, you could do that, and you know it may be a little easier. But I really think the Harden and Mobley pick and roll could be very dangerous in the playoffs.
Could go, yeah.
And so I think they should utilize that a lot because he can be a really good scorer. He can stretch the floor, and I think this could be a year for him to kind of shine. And then my third player is for the Thunder. I also had Chet. I agree with all your takes there. I think he is the cornerstone or the backbone more of that defense. He puts the fear in people trying to drive in there in that paint, and if he can play up to his standards, if he can give you 15 a game as well, a consistent 15 to 18, the Thunder are going to be scary. I also kind of I don't know if I brought it up when I talked about the Thunder. If like they can have like anyone else but Shea step up offensively, at least one player per game, they're like really hard to beat.
Good. Yeah.
I
agree.
If it's like Shea gives you 30, right, and no one else gives you more than like 15, they can lose a game. Yeah. But if Shea gives you 30 and Chet gives you 20 and J-Dub gives you 20, it's like wraps. Like, because all their other role players will give you like 10.
Yeah.
Like
what kills me about the Thunder is those Lou Dort high arcing bullshit threes. Oh my God. Like when he hits those, just call it a game. Like there's nothing you can do. Like he'll go like, and it's like streaky too. You go like 5 for 6. That's
Yeah.
all. That's all they need. That's all they need. They win the game.
One run.
automatically.
They
Yeah.
don't really
Yeah.
give up leads. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Let's pick one hot take, your favorite playoff hot take, that you want to share to the world that might add a little spice into our episode here. Maybe some people will look at your take and go, "Whoa," Give me your favorite hot take.
Hot take, huh?
I can go first
mean,
if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead. Do your thing.
Yeah. Okay. I had two here, but I have one that I like more. If the Spurs play the Wolves instead of the Nuggets in the second round, they will have enough energy to upset the Thunder and go to the finals.
Huh. That is a hot take.
I think
that is a
like a whole reason.
hot take.
The whole reason I had the Spurs losing to the Thunder was that I thought they'd be too tired, from the Nuggets series and everything. If they can match up the Wolves, beat them in 6, maybe even 5. I just think the Nuggets match up against the Spurs better than the Wolves do. I just think the Wolves are not fast enough and don't have as good of a defense as the Nuggets or as good of a cohesive offense. I just think they just play really well. They play really well against the Nuggets. I think that's how they can beat the Nuggets. But I think when you look down at like team versus team, they're not near the Spurs at all. They just don't have the matchups. So that's why I think that Spurs could beat them in 5 or 6, and then they would have some time to chill before they play the Thunder, catch their breath, and maybe that series goes to 7. Maybe they beat the Thunder in 7. I'm not saying it's like confirmed they can beat the Thunder if they play the Wolves, but like it's a lot more realistic to me if they do. I just don't think the Wolves are a good matchup for the Spurs.
Okay, I like that. That's a good take. I guess my take is, people are pretty high on the Spurs. My take was them being out second round. Just them kind of going out early is kind of my hot take. I had a hot take about a player, and this is really weird, kind of from a weird stance. I think Cade Cunningham absolutely struggles in the playoffs. I think he gets his double-digit assists, like that 9 or 10 assists. But in terms of putting the ball in the hoop, I think he's going to be shooting horrific from the field. I think he's shooting like 5 for 18 from the field and having awful nights. 1, I think he's still injured. 2, I think the lights are too bright. I don't think he's going to have a good playoffs at all.
I can see what you're saying. I can see how I can kind of agree with you. I just think their defense is too good for them to completely fall apart in a series, even if he has a bad game.
I think they still win for sure. I just think that he's doesn't play at an MVP level at all.
Yeah.
They're like collectively winning games, and he's just barely getting by and putting up like horrible efficiency, and they're winning games just off of him like kind of leading the offense in terms of his passing because he's still a really good passer. But in terms of scoring the ball and like giving you like 25-30, no shot. I think he just has a bad playoff experience for whatever reason.
My other take, you predict. I was gonna say if the Cavs have everything click, and Harden steps up finally, I could see him upsetting the Pistons and going to the conference finals. But I also said I could see them putting a scare in the Celtics. I think if they go that far, it's not just gonna like come to a halt and they lose in 5. I could see them losing in 6 to the Celtics.
Yeah.
But I don't see him beating the Celtics, but I see him getting 2 games, and you're like, okay, like the team played really well this year, went all the way, deeper into the playoffs than you thought. But
I have an interesting question for you. Which team do you think has the best home court arena like advantage in terms of their fans being outrageous? Because you have the Spurs. Yeah, you have the Spurs coming in now. San Antonio back in the mid 2010s was absolutely crazy. Obviously, you have OKC now and Paycom. Detroit, they get rowdy like Trailblazers.
even with the Knicks and the Pistons,
Minnesota.
I don't think I'm going to pick anyone in the East.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go Spurs or Thunder. Thunder were nuts
Okay.
last year. They really got into the
same.
all white T-shirt, like whole crowd,
Yeah.
like. And there's nothing else going on in Oklahoma City. I have some family that lives there. That's like
That's a good
that's
point.
like that's something they can like
Yeah,
stick to.
I
So,
agree. I agree. I agree.
but San Antonio is also, historic city for basketball, and they yearn to be back in the playoffs for sure. It's been a minute, and so I think they're going to be really fun to see. And they have one of the best players in the league on their team now. Yeah, they're going to be fun. I think it's between those teams. What about you?
Yeah,
Who's your
I
pick?
agree. Those two teams are kind of on the high list. I think that Portland game 3 is going to be super, super loud.
Yeah,
They get rowdy in that arena, really, really loud.
they do.
Minnesota at times can get really, really loud if they're going on like a huge run against the Nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
I can see Minnesota, but yeah, Spurs and Thunder, especially Thunder, man. Paycom gets absolutely
Loud.
out of this world.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
So, yeah.
You got anything else you want to say just about playoffs in general, or any players or anything that comes to mind that you still wanted to talk about?
No, I think this playoffs is going to be very important for legacies, just in terms of all the players. Obviously, the older players, you can't really change their legacy with like a KD or LeBron or Steph if he gets in. But it raises some questions. Like if the Lakers somehow find a way to beat the Rockets, I know Kevin Durant's 38 years old, but like what's going on? He hasn't been, deep in the playoffs for like a while. There's going to be more, NBA discourse, NBA Twitter media saying that he can't lead a team and this and that. There's going to be a huge discourse around Kevin Durant. And obviously with the whole incident at the All-Star break, him saying he's a bad teammate, can't lead, that's going to go down a whole path. Obviously legacies, Jokic, Shea, those players, man, if they win this, it's massive. Even Wemby in his third year, they win there. In terms of legacy, obviously, NBA media is at an all-time high in terms of players winning and people overreacting a little bit. But there's some valid overreaction, I would say, with some of the players here in the playoffs in terms of their legacy and what they mean to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting playoffs. I think that it's pretty well balanced. I think that the finals is going to go to at least 6 or 7 games. I think that at the beginning, the Eastern Conference are going to have more exciting games. I feel like it typically happens in those first rounds in the Eastern Conference for whatever reason. And then the later games, the Western Conference are going to have more of those marquee matchups and better games there. It's going to be an interesting playoffs. I can't. Yeah. I'm very excited. Yeah. Hopefully it's not LeBron's last season. But
probably not.
If it is, I probably gonna go kill myself. But yeah, it's gonna be a good playoffs, and I'm excited. What about you?
Speaking of that, the more and more I think about it, I feel like he doesn't want to end it like this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
But how else are you gonna end it? If you go, he's never gonna be a first option ever again.
It's like Brady though. Tom Brady, like he could have ended it like a lot earlier than he needed to, but like he just kept playing because he just loved the game. Like, I feel like he spends enough time with his family now during the season and the off season more than he has before, to where like it's not a problem for like his family. Yeah, I mean, like, they're chill.
His son's on the team.
That too. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's not. It's not that big of a problem anymore. I feel like a couple years ago that was like the question. It was like, does he need to go spend more time with his family? It was like the same thing with Brady, right? And then he did it.
Yeah.
And he got divorced, and then he came back. Like, I feel like Braun, he's like, I spent enough time with you guys. I make it a priority. I don't think that's the reason why he'd retire. So if that's not the reason, what else reason is there for him to retire? He can just keep dominating. He loves the grit and grind process of, getting ready for games. And, he's going to be able to play with Luka again and keep him in contention. And so he's not playing for, like, a low seed. So I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if he plays next year and does a freaking reunion or a retirement tour, or if he calls it this year. I don't know. If we lose in like 5, though, he's not calling it. Fuck no. Last year he was like, it's just basketball or whatever. 2 years ago, and everyone was like, it's done, and then he played.
Yeah,
So, like, he says the most outlandish shit at the end of the season, and it makes it seem like he's gonna retire, and then he's like, all right, I'm suiting back up.
Yeah.
So until I feel like I'm like super confident, I thought I was more confident in the middle of the season, but now with this whole team falling apart, I just feel like it's just like a sour taste in his mouth if we like lose in 5 and he played without Luke and Reeves in the playoffs at all. It's gonna feel weird, and he's not gonna want to go out like that. So I don't know, but yeah, I'm excited for this playoffs because I think it's gonna be a big look into the future of the league. A lot of young guys, like you said, some of the older players are probably not going to be very prominent in this playoff run. Going to be a lot of new guys that are going to be dominating the league for a while. Wemby, Cade, Shea, Jokic, just a lot of new guys. So I'm excited. But yeah. Well, thank you for watching Studio J podcast. I was Julian Means. I have my friend here, Elvis, on the podcast. You can follow Studio J on Instagram and TikTok at StudioJ_podcast for more clips and trivia. We'll probably be doing some more episodes, doing some NBA trivia, probably updating you guys during the middle of the playoffs, and probably doing a music episode down the line. You can watch it. Yeah, you can watch this on YouTube or listen on Spotify. Is there anything else you want to say, Elvis?
No, we're gonna have a good playoffs, and I appreciate Julian for having me on.
Oh yeah, I'm Julian Means. Thanks for stepping into Studio J.